Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel, Coloring and Comments, a channel where I color in mandalas and talk to you about various topics that are on my mind. Before we get into today's topic, please excuse my voice. I've been sick for a while and this is the closest to normal it has been for a minute. Today we'll be talking about the power of asking. The human mind is this amazing machine. It has the ability to analyze and simulate probable outcomes to any given scenarios. And this is a great thing. A great thing until it's not. See, the problem is that the mind can get stuck trying to find ways to navigate potentially negative outcomes without even thinking that positive outcomes are also a possibility. So in its attempt to solve a problem, the mind starts making assumptions and it tricks itself into believing that these assumptions are true. But you can't really blame it. This leap is quite understandable because in the absence of evidence showing or proving otherwise, assumptions do appear as fact. And that is why asking is so important. I know that as adults, we are very fearful of asking questions. We are fearful because we don't want to look stupid. We don't want to look like we don't know in front of our peers. So instead, we are always trying to save face, but we're saving face and at the same time constantly searching for answers. But it hasn't always been this way. I mean, humans are actually rather curious and inquisitive beings. And if you don't believe it, just think of children. Children constantly want to know why, even when you tell them otherwise, right? Scientists say that on average, a 4-year-old can ask about 100 questions a day. That's a lot of questions. But as we grow older or as you reach adulthood, the number of questions dwindles to 20. Then you ask yourself, why this rapid decrease? And the fear of asking questions creeps in at various stages in our lives. It can creep in when we're kids or when we're younger. Just think of the scenario. I don't know if it has happened to you, but I know it has happened to me, where you ask your parent a question, and in that moment, your parent or your guardian decides that that question is not suitable for children, or the answer is not suitable for children. So instead of saying, I understand your question, there are certain aspects of your question that I can answer now, but there are also certain aspects of the question that I can only ask when you're older. Only answer when you're older. So instead of saying that, they immediately tell you to stop asking questions. And because you're an adult, you are unable to realize that the refusal to answer your question is not because your question is stupid. The refusal to answer your question is because they are uncomfortable with giving you the answer to that question. I'm not sure about the rest of y'all, but for me, the fear of asking questions took root when I was in high school because there's this constant fear of being laughed at. Imagine yourself. You are sitting in class, your teacher's in front of you explaining some complicated concept, and you find yourself unable to understand what is happening. You raise your hand, and just as you start asking this question, everybody starts laughing at you. That embarrassment leaves you so fearful of asking questions again, even though you know that your question was good, or you know that your question was necessary to further your understanding of that specific topic. But when I was younger, I thought that people laughed because the question was obvious, or people laughed because the question was stupid. But as I grew older, I realized that people don't laugh because your question is stupid. They laugh because they lack the courage to ask the question. So now, as they laugh, they're trying to instill the fear that they have in themselves in you, so that you don't have the courage to ask questions anymore. This fear, the fear of asking questions, makes you believe that you're the only one that doesn't understand at any given time. But then I read somewhere that if someone has a question, it clearly indicates that what was being discussed or whatever was being presented is not as clear or not as obvious as initially thought. So there's a lot of power in asking questions, because questions are not only powerful because you learn more, they are also very powerful because they constantly challenge the status quo. I recently read a great article on the Rapid Start Leadership website. And the article basically outlines 7 ways in which questions are more powerful than answers, especially in the setting of leadership. I'll make sure to link the article in the description box below. But in today's video, we'll only explore 4 of those ways in which asking is more powerful than answering. The first is asking builds knowledge, right? There's a saying, and I love this saying. It's you don't know what you don't know. And the only way that you find out what you don't know is by constantly questioning even that you perceive to know, right? So when you know something, you question why until you gain further understanding or further background of what you thought you knew. And in that, you will realize that you actually didn't know as much as you thought you knew, right? The second is that it teaches you about others. When you ask a question, it allows you to see how others answer. Their choice of words, the way in which they express themselves, what they make reference to, all that teaches you the type of person you are talking to and how best to address them in future. Number 3, asking engages the mind. Like we said, the mind is this brilliant machine. And the moment you ask a question, you force the mind to start looking and trying to find different answers to any given scenario. And that action of stimulating the brain is really important, because some scientists say that simulation or stimulation will help you maintain a healthy brain as you grow older. And the last one is asking communicates value. When you ask a question, you are telling the person that you're asking that you value their input, you value them as a person, and that is why you are seeking an answer from them. Something that is really important, especially in the times that we find ourselves in. Find ourselves in times where people feel unworthy, unwanted, especially with social media, where there's constant comparison. So simply by asking, you are telling this person, thank you for existing. Thank you for being willing to teach me. Thank you for taking out time to address me. So the next time you are confronted with uncertainty, just ask the question. Because remember, you don't know what you don't know, and you only know what you don't know when you ask the question. So thank you everyone for watching today's video. It is rather short, but I hope that you enjoyed it. Make sure that you like, comment, share, and subscribe. Let me know what are your thoughts on answering questions, and I'll see you in the next video.